Good morning, and thank you for joining again. Welcome back to another podcast session, Rumination with Andrew. It is indeed my pleasure to be with you once more and to elaborate on some of the topical issues of the day. Now, we have been hearing a lot about this Mycoplasma pneumoniae that has been lurking around the world. And we first heard that it was in China, but now we're hearing that it is even now in the United States of America. And other countries also are talking about it and the fact that they are feeling the symptoms of what this disease entails. Now, I want you to understand that it's important that we take control of our health. Many of you sometimes are depending on your medical experts in the mainstream, industry to take care of your health, because for some reason we have been indoctrinated into believing that when we're sick, we just go to our doctors and our doctors solve the problems. And that is not true. The same thing happens to parents sometimes who send their children to school. And I'm an educator and think that teacher is going to take care of all the problems of your children. And also that is not true. Now, the teacher is there to teach, but also you must understand that it is much more complex than just sending your children to school to learn, right? There are other factors that impede on education and a proper education. Likewise, the healthcare industry is an industry, and it's a part of the medical industrial complex. It is not there to cure your diseases. It is there to manage your diseases so that you will keep going to the doctor and buying their medications. Now, we must also remember that drugs do not cure, right? They might treat some symptoms, and for a little while, you might temporarily be relieved of whatever symptoms that you are encountering. But it does not deal with the root cause of that particular disease. We are going to find that, healing comes from nature, because that's where we came from. We came from the earth. Man was made from the earth. So all of the natural remedies are there in the earth. We came from the soil. And remember now that nothing grows but from the soil, right? It comes from the soil. If you're going to plant a tree, then you have to plant it in the soil, right? So all the things, the leaves and the, herbs and all of those things and the spices are for the healing of a nation, right? So we need to remember that. Now let's look briefly at what this Mycoplasma pneumoniae is about. And I just jotted down rather some brief information here to share with you. Hopefully you will pay attention and you will learn something from it. But they say that children, and we've been hearing that children are the ones who are the major targets of this disease. So we must be careful and we must try to protect our children. If you have learned anything, and I think most of us have not learned, I must say, when you see what is happening in the world, you really wonder if we are suffering from amnesia, right? Or temporary dementia based on what has happened in the world, particularly over the last 3 years, because sometimes we still depend upon our medical system, which is not, for the most part, authentic. All right. Now, let me just share with you here. Children who get Mycoplasma pneumoniae infection usually have signs of chest cold. So you have to be very, very vigilant and be alert to chest colds that your children. But it's a combination of different symptoms that they might experience. The common symptoms known as this we call the tracheobronchitis. That's chest cold. So that's tracheobronchitis. And that is a common type of cold. Now, the usual symptoms that you might see in your children are sore throat, feeling tired. So if they're complaining that they're feeling tired, many of them are not necessarily doing any hard work. So if they're complaining that they're being tired, you probably should be mindful of that. Now, we also have fever and other symptoms, headache, slowly worsening of the cold that they have, right? If it moves, if the cold goes on for weeks and for months, then you have to be also very careful. Now, some of them also might experience red rash that resembles hives, right? So you have to be very, very careful that that is taken care of and that they get some medical attention. Remember now that we want to prevent, right? But in the absence that, you know, you can't in the case that you cannot prevent that particular disease, then you have to seek medical attention. Now, children younger than 5 years old who get Mycoplasma Pneumoniae infection could have symptoms that are different from older children and adults. The following are the symptoms that children younger than 5 years old may have. Now, sneezing, stuffy or runny nose, sore throat, watery eyes, wheezing, vomiting, diarrhea. All right, so those children who are younger than 5 years old, these are the symptoms that you might see or that they might experience, and that parents have to be alert to, right? Now, I am going to repeat those symptoms for the children younger than 5 years old, some of you who have children younger than 5 years old. Sneezing, stuffy or runny nose, sore throat, watery eyes, wheezing, vomiting, or diarrhea. All right, so you must look out for these symptoms. If they're experiencing one or more of these symptoms, be careful and make sure that you treat as much as is possible. Now, pneumonia, right, is a lung infection. As you know, it can occur. The common symptoms of pneumonia are fever and chills, cough, and sometimes, you know, most times the cough sometimes tends to be dry, feeling tired, shortness of breath, right? And this is actually coming from the CDC website. So you can also go onto the CDC website. I will also post that information in my description at the end of the video. Now, one of the things that we ought to know and to understand is the whole matter of boosting our immune system, right? Because that is the essence of, you know, not being sick or combating any type of illness or diseases, that we should try to boost our immune systems. Most of the times, even during the pandemic, right, they were not telling us, for the most part, of how we could boost our immune system. They kept on, you know, telling us that we should, you know, be prepared for a vaccine, right? They made sure that they emphasized the taking of a vaccine. But there are much more things, right? Much more things involved than just taking a vaccine. In fact, a vaccine is not going to protect your health, as you should know, because by now you know that the vaccines or the gene therapies didn't work, right? They were not effective as you were told by the media. Now, there are some things that we can use to boost our immune systems. And I think that they're all natural, right? They can be found in nature. Now, what are some of the things that you can do to boost your immune system, right? First of all, you need to eat a healthy, varied diet with plenty of fresh foods and whole grains, right? So you need to have that diet. Try to move away from the fleshy diet where you eat a lot of, you know, fresh foods, particularly during the flu season. Try and stay away as much as possible from eating meat and milk and butter and all the dairy products that you like to eat. It's best to stay away from that. I notice that when I do, you know, I don't like milk, but when I do drink milky, you know, teas, or, you know, whether it's a cocoa tea or hot chocolate, whatever it is, you know, that, yeah, a lot of mucus builds up in my system, right? So to avoid that, it's best to just be natural. You know, eat fruits and grains and vegetables, as fresh leafy vegetables, very good for you to boost your immune system. Exercise, right? And people are talking about the importance of daily exercise, right? And it might be brisk walking, light jogging, right? Or lifting weights, right? These are things, doing push-ups, things that you know you can do to, as we say, to bust a sweat, right? And so that it can release some of the toxins that are in your body. Very important that you do that. One of the things that is very vital for us to also understand about good health and nutrition is that if you want to have good health, you must have healthy, good blood, right? Your blood must be pure, right? It cannot be filled with a lot of toxins. And that is why when they came up with the whole matter of wearing masks, I could not agree with that, because I know that if you're wearing masks, you are not getting the oxygen, the air that you need to make your blood pure and good, right? Because good blood requires that you have pure air, right? So that's something that you need to understand. You know, inhaling your carbon dioxide is going to definitely make you have bad blood, which is going to make your health be, it's going to compromise your health, right? So it's very, very important that you understand that. Now, manage your weight. That is also very important. And I have been managing mine, right? You know, I was eating a lot of carbohydrates because, you know, that's how we grew up, eating bad carbohydrates. And I was eating lots of bread and, you know, and also the sweet, you know, foods, right? That we also like, the dessert that we tend to like to eat, like our cupcakes and cakes and puddings. And, you know, these are things that we grew up on and we think are nutritious, but they are not nutritious, right? And they contain lots of sugars, which are going to increase our weight. So it's very important that we stay away from that. What I have done, I'm not sure everybody can do it, is to reduce the drinking of sweet juices, right? You know, whether it's orange juice, because some of these juices that we have in the supermarkets, they tell us that they're nutritious, but they're not nutritious. So for the most part, it will be better for you to get your juicer, your blender, and make your own fresh juice with little or no sugar, because sugar also is not good. The sugar compromises your immune system. It weakens your immune system, right? So it's very important that you understand that. Also, stay away from all types of sugar, whether it's white sugar or it's brown sugar. No type of sugar is good for you. If you want sugar, drink the natural sugar. You have it in your honey, and there are other natural forms of sugar. If not, just do away with sugar, right? And get it from your sweet oranges, because these, you know, the oranges are sweet by nature. Well, hopefully you can get them sweet, right? Sometimes they're sour, but hopefully you can get them sweet, and other, you know, fruits and perhaps vegetables that might also have sugar. Get your sugar from that. God is the maker of all these things, and he designed the body in an excellent way, and he has made all the herbs and the fruits and the vegetables and the seeds and the nuts and the grains with all of those nutrients to nourish this human machinery that we call the human body. All right, so it's very important that you understand that. No doctor is going to be able, and I'm not now hitting doctors, because doctors are important, just like educators are important, but they too are part of a system that has indoctrinated them into believing that we are going to be healed by the dispensing of drugs, and drugs do not cure. Or healing is found in nature. And no wonder we see a lot of, you know, Western people being overweight, for example, because of our diet. Now, let's move on. So we talked about managing your weight. That is one that boosts your immune system. I should say also that I eat one meal per day, right? And that helps me a lot to boost my immune system. And sometimes fast for an entire day. You may want to do that to sort of, you know, to release again the toxins out of your body. They say that fasting, scientists say, I shouldn't just say they, but, you know, nutritionists, scientists who study the art of nutrition say that when you eat one meal per day, or when you fast, I should say, not eat, but when you fast, if you remain from food, I would advise you to get medical attention and to seek medical, counseling as far as that is concerned, because our bodies are different, right? And some people can fast for a day, some people cannot fast for a day because their bodies might they might have different diseases or different problems, right? And you must be able to seek medical advice and medical counseling as far as that is concerned. Now, another thing that can boost our immune system is the get enough sleep. And I cannot emphasize or overemphasize that, all right? Because many of us, if truth be told, are sleep deprived because of our jobs, we're studying, the technology. If truth be told, the technologies that have distracted us, right? And we can be on, on TikTok, or we can be on YouTube, or whatever, all the tubes, right? We can be on them, and we remain on them for a long time. Even just sometimes, even WhatsApp, just chatting with our friends. We chat too much sometimes, and we just have to be mindful of that it is best to get into bed at 9. They say that if you sleep between 9 to 5, right? So the hours of 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning, that is good sleep, right? And it helps our bodies to rest. And also, while the body is resting during the hours like between 11 and 3, right? There is a lot of cleaning that is happening in the body. Just like you have the computers, when you turn off your computers and it's resting, right? The system rests. So everything has to rest. So the body also needs its daily rest so that it can clean, right? And redesign, right? Reinvigorate, right? The whole system, your physical and your mental, even the cells in your brain, right? So all of our bodies, all parts of our bodies, I should say, are engaged in critical cleansing while you are actually sleeping. Isn't God an amazing God that he did that? And that was something that helps us to live and to be in good health. Now, you also need to avoid or quit smoking. And I would say quit it, especially those, if the pneumonia, for the Mycoplasma Pneumoniae, and for all pneumonia that's out there, I think it would be very good for you to quit smoking, because that is going to affect your lungs. All right, so that's not going to be good for your lungs and for your breathing. So it would be very, very good and and advisable that you desist from all types of smoking. And when people smoke, also it affects other people's health. And that's one of the things I couldn't understand also during the pandemic. When they're telling us about keeping away from people because you're sick with COVID, what about the people who are smoking constantly around us and intoxicating the environment, and which can also lead to lung infection and all types of cancers, and they do nothing about it. They're not so serious about preventing those diseases. Now, limit alcohol consumption, okay, when you're, if you want to boost your immune system. They say limited, I would say avoid all use of alcohol. So these are some of the ways that we can boost our immune system, right? So it's very important that we do these things to boost your immune system. Now, what are some of the foods that we can use to boost our immune system, right? And these are some notes that I jotted down while researching about the boosting of our immune systems. And number one on the list here, I have garlic, which many of us have. Wonderful, food. And it does also, it's very delicious when we put it in our salads, okay, and also in our different types of foods. Now, garlic contains a significant amount of vitamins and minerals, such as manganese, B6, and selenium, that are all recommended for daily consumption. So it's good to have garlic every day as much as possible. Put it in your salad and put it in your vegetables, right? So that you can have some amount of it. Some of us cannot eat it raw, right? It would be nice to have a clove of garlic or to eat it raw, but it's not going to be tasty, in our mouths. But, sometimes you could crush it and also put it in water and drink it, and that's also good for blood pressure, because people who have high blood pressure, there are times when they will crush a clove of garlic and they will put it in some water and they'll drink it, and it tends to balance their blood pressure. Garlic also boosts production of the virus fighting T cells. So, we have the T cells in our bodies that fight against all types of diseases, viruses, and infections. Okay, so this is very important for fighting viruses, colds, and okay, and all sort of diseases caused by virus. So I think that it will be very, very important for you to use the garlic as it helps in the protection of T cells, right? Which helps to mitigate and to fight against, viruses and all types of infections. Now, garlic is also well known for what I have here now. Do you know that they used garlic in World War II to fight against gangrene, right? Gangrene. And also it was also used as an antiseptic to clean the wounds of the soldiers. All right, so that's what they used during World War II. If you did not know, that garlic was used to fight against gangrene and was also used as an antiseptic to clean the wounds of the soldiers who were wounded during World War II. So that's something that you need to remember. Now, ginger is another spice that you can think about in terms of boosting your immune system. It's a mainstay, right? Spice in Asian and Indian cultures, right? And also in Middle Eastern cultures, I beg your pardon. Now, ginger contains vitamins, okay, vitamin C, magnesium, and potassium, right? Now, what are the benefits of using ginger? It's used to assist with nausea, right? So if you're feeling nauseous, you can also have a cup of ginger tea, right? Or use ginger in some way to make you feel better. Now, battery, again, it's used better if you use some honey rather than using sugar, because sugar, as we said, it weakens, right, the immune system. It compromises your immune system. So it's best to stay away from all types of sugar. Ginger also has anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. Now, one of the things I learned, maybe 3 years ago is that diseases come because of inflammation, right? So whenever our bodies are inflamed, then we have all types of diseases. So it's best if we try to eat all types of foods that are anti-inflammatory, right? That will fight or make our bodies well, right? Healthy and well. Because what we want to be is healthy and well, not just healthy, but healthy and well. Because many people look good, but they're not feeling well. They do look good, right? And you say, oh, you look great, but their bodies are not well. So we have to also distinguish between those two words. Now, turmeric is another spice that we can use to boost our immune system. The spice is also known for boosting the immune system and also as an antiviral. So it can be used to boost your immune system, and it can also be used as an antiviral. And what better time than now to want to use this spice as an antiviral? And they say that it is due to the spice's curcumin, right? So the curcumin, that's curcumin, which helps to lessen inflammation and fights all types of radicals in your body, right? So that is important. So again, we say that the turmeric has curcumin, right? Which helps to lessen inflammation and fights radicals in your bodies. All right. Now, another important vegetable, right, is broccoli, which I don't like, but very, very important for those of you who like it. And you can also put broccoli in your salad. And, scientists, nutritionists suggest that you do not overcook it. If you can eat it raw, the better for you, right? Because it contains most of the nutrients. I think by now we understand when we cook things from a lot of, when we overcook our vegetables, which I have grown up doing. But it's best to either eat them raw, if they can be eaten raw, or steam them, right? You can steam them also, steam it lightly so that the nutrients are not. Now, if you cook them, if you don't have a taste, then drink the water, right? Don't throw away the water drink everything from even the water that you cook the broccoli in, drink it. Because you don't, since the nutrients would probably have been stored in the water that you were cooking the vegetable in, right? Now, broccoli, now they say that this stalky vegetable is filled or full of vitamin A, C, and E, right? So this has three types of vitamins. But broccoli will give you three types of vitamins, right? You have vitamins A, C, and E. And it's also good, it's a good source of fiber, right? So if you're having problems with your, moving your stool or whatever, it's a good type of fiber for you to have. Now, broccoli also contains sulfur compounds that aid in the production of glutathione, right? Probably I'm not pronouncing this word correctly. But they're saying here that research shows that glutathione, an antioxidant. So glutathione is an antioxidant which attacks radicals, reducing their damage to your immune system. All right, so that's also very good for you to know. Now, as I said, steaming or eating raw vegetables is the best way to maintain all the nutrients, right? So if you want to maintain all the nutrients in your vegetables, it's best to steam them or you eat them raw so that you can, all the nutrients in those vegetables can be efficacious for your body. Now, bell peppers is also yet another important vegetable to boost your immune system. And better yet, if they're red and yellow, right? So in all their red and yellow varieties, that is what you want to have. Now, do you know that bell pepper is very high in vitamin C? I didn't know that, right? So that bell pepper is high in vitamin C and as much as an orange. So we thought that mandarins are also high in vitamin C. Now, you can put your bell peppers in your salads and stewing them with tomatoes, so that they can be delicious, because we want to make our foods delicious, right? Because one of the reasons why many people do not like vegetables and grains and nuts and stuff like that is because we do not know how to prepare them, all right? That they can be sumptuous, right? We want to have sumptuous meals. And that is why people stay away from being vegetarians, because sometimes people do not know how to prepare the food in a delicious and appealing manner. Remember, our foods should be appealing so that our appetites, that they can be appealing to our appetites, that we want to eat them. Because if they're not appealing to taste nor appetite, then many times we do not want to eat them. Now, another thing that we need to know, though, is that we also have to learn to adapt our taste buds to different types of foods, because, a lot of times what we think we like is because we have grown up on it, really, and our taste buds have become adapted to the tastes of those bad foods. But we can also adapt our taste buds to good foods, good and nutritious foods. So don't always think that you must depend on the taste and, oh, I don't like it because it's too sour, it's bitter. Sometimes it's good for your bodies, right? And in fact, we should have a combination of tastes in our body. That's why we have different varieties in nature, right? We have the sweet, we have the sour, we have the bitter, because it's important. Like you have your lemons and you have your limes, you have your oranges, you have your grapefruits, right? So that you can have varieties that our bodies can maintain, can be in a optimal condition, in optimal health. Now, spinach is also another immune booster, right? Immune system booster that can help to boost or strengthen your immune system. So we have the leafy green vegetable is an excellent source of vitamin A, right? So spinach, so try to have your spinach during this time, because it contains beta-carotene, which is known as an infection fighter. So beta-carotene, and Dr. John Campbell, in his video on, I think it was last Saturday, he talked about the fact that he was talking about the disease, the Mycoplasma Pneumoniae, right? Or the type of pneumonia that is coming, that is, afflicting Chinese citizens and other peoples of the world. And he was suggesting that the fact that it could be as a result of vitamin A deficiency. He did admit that vitamin A deficiency is not prevalent in Western societies. However, some people might be, deficient in that vitamin, right? So it's important that you do that. And it's best if you get these vitamins through your foods, right? If, some of these you might just want supplements, but, try not to fill your body up with supplements, right? Try to be natural and get them. If it's in your food, then get it from the food. That is the original source. Why would we want to seek a secondary source when the primary source? And that's the whole irony with human beings, right? We like when we have research done. When people are doing research, they, if they want to make the research as authentic, they prefer to have primary sources, right? Of course, you can use secondary sources, but secondary sources, if it's just filled with secondary sources, people tend not to want to believe your research findings or research conclusions, all right? With there. Now, we have almonds also are very excellent source of boosting your immune system. And do you know that almonds can be used to help ward off infection, right? So those of you who didn't know that, then you should try to get some more almonds in your house that you can. Now, almond also contains antioxidants and also contains healthy fats, right? So it's nutritious for fats. Sometimes people are saying, oh, we do not have to eat, I have to eat meat because how would I get my fat? You have fats in a lot of grains and nuts, right? So that is what you're learning now, that you can also get your good fats from your nuts and from your grains. You just have to study them and see which one contains the highest amount of fats, because fats are important for that's good fats, that is, not bad fats. But good fats are important for our bodies. We need them, right? So it's not just, it's fats that, create or produce high cholesterol, right? We need good fats. If you have good fats, then you should be able to have a healthy body. Now, the almonds also contain vitamin E, and this helps also to, it helps for your body to absorb vitamin C. That's what I read. Hopefully that information is true, right? But whether or not, I've always noted that, I've always known rather that almond is the source of good nutrition for fighting or warding off infection. Now, sunflower seeds. I don't know if many of you have this or may be able to get this in your supermarkets, but sunflower seeds are also very, very good. They're the good source of vitamin E. And it's a known infection fighter, right? So sunflower seeds are known as also infection fighters, right? So it helps to ward off diseases and to fight against them when they infect your bodies. Remember now, I'm giving you these things so that you can, as soon as you feel symptoms, you begin to use them to ward off, right? To fight against whatever infection. You don't wait until your body is fully infected and then you go to see your doctor and think that a miracle is going to happen. Now, sunflower seeds also contain vitamin selenium or selenium, depending on how you pronounce it, which research shows can help your immune system in two ways, right? It triggers your immune system when there is a risk, right? So that's interesting. And B, it also tells your immune system when to slow down thus protecting your body from chronic anti-inflammation. So, so one of the things that we are boosting our immune system, we don't want our immune system to attack itself, right? We want our immune system to work naturally. So it knows when to slow down, when to speed up. But we don't want to put something inside our immune system or in our bodies that will allow the immune system to start working over time and then attack us, and then our bodies become very sick, right? Our bodies are inflamed. Now, another thing that is important to do is to keep your body hydrated. Water, right? So water is very, very important and is very good to stay hydrated, and it helps to wash out some of the, the toxins that we might have in our bodies. Before I finish this video, I just would like to read you something which is very, very important that you understand, right? And this is coming from the Ministry of Healing. And this is a book that was written years ago by Ellen G. White. And I would also encourage you to get a copy of Counsels on Diet and Health, because that also is a very important book. It helps you, teaches you about your body and health. She says here in chapter 8, the physician and educator, right? The true physician is an educator. He recognizes his responsibility not only to the sick who are under his direct care, but also to the community in which he lives. He stands as a guardian of both physical and moral health. So not only your physical health, but your moral health. So he must do what is right, right? And what, is ethical. It is his endeavor not only to teach right methods for the treatment of the sick, but to encourage right habits of living and to spread a knowledge of right principles. She says here, education in health principles was never more needed than now. And I want you to listen to what he's saying here. Notwithstanding the wonderful progress in so many lines relating to the comforts and conveniences of life, even to sanitary matters and the treatment of disease, the decline in physical vigor and power of endurance is alarming. Right? So even from her times, and she was a person of the 19th century, died in 1915, so, early, mid, because she was born in 1827, so she lived, for most parts of the 19th century, and she lived 15 years in the early 20th century. She died in 1915, so she understood. She saw many years, and she saw how society was advancing. When she was born in 1827, the US was hardly any great nation, right? So she grew up in and saw where the United States eventually became very powerful, and she could see that even with all those blessings that the US had, even at that time, people were very sick, and their mental and physical vigor were declining. It demands the attention of all who have at heart the well-being of their fellow men. Hear what she's saying here. Our artificial civilization, so our civilization is authentic, it's artificial. That's why we are sick. We are not living as naturally and as close to nature as we ought to live and to operate, right? Our artificial civilization is encouraging evils destructive of sound principles. Custom and fashion are at war with nature, right? The practices they enjoy and the indulgences they foster are steadily lessening both physical and mental strength and bringing upon the race an intolerable burden. Intemperance and crime, disease and wretchedness are everywhere. Do you see where she has even crime? Right? So, and diseases. So even our foods and what we eat and what we think upon can induce all of these things, including crime. And sometimes they're saying, where crime is coming from? Well, a lot of times from the food and from what we nurture our minds on. The movies that you watch, the music that you listen to, right? The things that you look on, some of the drugs that you're taking. In fact, they're suggesting, there was a recent news that, some of the medications that Americans are on, like antidepressants, right, are creating the sort of, the increase in what do they have there in the States? These, shootings that are happening there, right? These drive-by shootings in the supermarket. So, and sometimes they are, linking them, connecting them with different parties, partisan ideology. And a lot of times it has to do with your mental health in terms of what you eat, because what we eat also affects our minds, right? Now, let me stop here to say many transgress the laws of health through ignorance, and they need instruction. But the greater number know better than they. They need to be impressed with the importance of making their knowledge a guide of life. The physician has many opportunities, both of imparting the knowledge of health principles and showing the importance of putting them in practice. By right instruction, he can do much to correct evils that are working untold harm. Right? So that is the purpose of the physician. And we are living in a society, in a world where doctors now, they have lots of bills to pay, right? They have high tuition, what do you call them now, loans that they have to pay back, right? And they are connected to a system that controls them, right? They have to follow the protocols outlined in the hospitals, in the clinics, and stuff like that. That was not God's design for a physician, right? A physician should be an independent thinker and not someone who is only following protocols designed by someone on high, right? But that's what is happening now. So we have to be mindful of these situations, listen to our physicians, be respectful of them to them. However, we need also to be mindful of the fact, right, that they are not gods, right? And we can also do our own research, right? So while this Mycoplasma pneumoniae is on the rise, right, and we are approaching the flu season, we need to understand that we can take care of ourselves. There are things in nature, particularly in our foods, all right? The foods that the nuts, the vegetables, particularly the leafy green vegetables, the fruits and the nuts and the grains and seeds. We've got to explore these different types of foods, right? So that we can make our families and ourselves healthy and well, right? Because remember now that without health, we're nothing, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. If you don't have good health, then you have nothing. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you in another presentation. All the best. Bye.